So we got our new Ryzen 7 1700 processor down our motherboard. This is the Gigabyte GA AX370 Gaming 5. We have our Wraith LED cooler here. I'm going to show you how to install it. It's super simple. If you purchased a motherboard like this, odds are it came with these tabs that have the tabs on the side. These are used for the clip-on type heat sinks. The AMD heatsink, the Wraith cooler, is not a clip-on type heatsink. So all you have to do is take a Phillips head screwdriver. Obviously you want the motherboard unplugged for all this and powered down. Obviously when you're working with a screwdriver around these boards, if you let these slip and hit the PCB, you can very much scratch the PCB and damage the motherboard beyond repair. So I don't suggest that. So be careful with your tools around the board. So once you get those off, and those slide right off there, you'll see you have your 4 standoffs. Most likely on your motherboard, the back plate that is on the motherboard has some kind of adhesive on it to hold it on there. So you shouldn't have any problems with those. This one is not. You can see these are a little bit loose, but I've actually removed this plate a couple times for using for water cooler. Again, we're going to use our isopropyl alcohol. This is 99.9% isopropyl. And we're going to want to clean that CPU off real good. And you're also going to want to come back and clean. Now, this had a TIM on it, straight from AMD. You can elect to use that TIM. I don't have any reason to tell you not to use that TIM. If you would like to replace that TIM with your favorite, obviously you can do that. Hopefully here in the next month we're going to get through testing a bunch of new TIMs. So generally what we use here on the test bench, generally what we use here in the test bench is MG Chemical silicone heat transfer compound. This comes in 60-gram buckets. It's inexpensive. It works fairly well. See, if you compare it to, say, like a mainstream Noctua NHT1, this is probably going to run a few degrees hotter. And there's a lot of people that tell you do not touch that with your finger because you contaminate the surface. And I would absolutely agree with that. And the reason that we really don't care here in this situation is I'm going to take this off in less than 24 hours, so I'm not really concerned with it. So for our purposes, I use this all the time on the test bench. Another reason is it cleans up fairly easily. So you just generally don't have to worry about it. All of it's still hellaciously messy though. So I've been doing this for a number of years, so I'm pretty good at laying down a thin bead. It looks good on there. So now we've got our cooler. You've got these 4 screws on here. These screw into the headers right there on that back plate. So you're going to want to decide where you want the cooler positioned. We're going to line this up. I guess we've got to go this way, right? My bad. That's kind of interesting because now it would never be at the top of a board in a normal ATX case. But 6.5 doesn't know that it didn't really matter. Place these down where you're just getting the screws on there. A long screwdriver helps in these cases. Get just a thread started in each one across the surface. This back plate is hanging down a little bit, so I'm having to push down. If your back plate is in there properly with adhesive on the back of it, you shouldn't have to do that. Let me see if I caught these threads that I needed to. Okay, so we got grip all the way around. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So make your way around. Trying to keep even pressure all the way around the CPU. And I'm sorry I wasn't watching the screen there. I guess my hands have been in the way the whole time. That one's snug down there. So I'm gonna go the one across from it. Now it's snug. Come back over here. It's snug. I'm gonna come back over here and it's snug. So it's down snug tight on Surfset CPU. We have the CPU fan header there. And as we mentioned in the unboxing video, this has a pretty LED ring on it. Now, be it if your motherboard has an LED header, we removed this socket over here that was covering this plug, and you can plug that in the motherboard, and we can plug this into the cooler. And there we go. So now we're all plugged in. We got a whole bunch of extra wire here to deal with too, so you'd want to snug that up. Now, give me a second because I'm going to move this back to our other station over here where I use the AMD systems. So we have our board moved over to our new system. It's all powered up. Let's see what happens. That is pretty cool. Got to give it to them. It's good looking at least. Now we're going to get around to overclocking this retail purchased Ryzen 1700, see if it does as good as our sample from AMD. And I'll be following up with you on that later.